I have to apologize. Normally, I do a review of a product when I have it right in front of me, and I did do a review of this product, the Zerowater dispenser, and even a separate short video about the TDS meter. Unfortunately, I must have accidentally deleted them, or they didn't record correctly, or something, because I have been unable to locate them. If I do locate them, I will delete this video or replace it or whatever. I can, somehow I'll make sure it gets up. But so far, I've been unable to locate it. So I'm going to just explain to you about the Zerowater filter. I bought it in late November, and it received it in early December. I won't say where I bought it because it doesn't matter. Um, I got a good deal on the price, I feel, anyways. And I thought, oh, this is great. This is, people are giving, you know, high reviews. It removes lead and other toxic heavy metals. And it's one of the few filters that I'm aware of that actually is certified to do that. So I was thrilled to find this. Um, yeah, well, let me show you first. So this is the model that I had. And as you can see, it holds 40 cups. Now, if you see here, the top and the base are made of stainless steel. However, this faucet or spigot or whatever you want to tap, whatever you want to call it here, is made of plastic that's chromed. So it's not going to be as durable, obviously. Unlike some of the pitchers like this one and this one, there is no place to store the TDS meter on the dispenser, so you have to put it somewhere else, which I did not like. I liked the idea of just storing it with the filter. Also, I did not like this lid, and it's not because of the materials. It's simply because of the fact that it is something I cannot put anything on top of. If they had had a recessed handle and a flat surface, or a fairly flat surface, it would have been more useful, especially because my countertop is not that big. But it is what it is. Now you can see that the filter is fairly large, and that is actually the entire length of the filter there. Because it doesn't stick up into the reservoir. This part here is a plastic piece that contains all the water that needs to be filtered, and it holds maybe a quarter of this size, maybe a bit less. I think it was like 10 cups if I remember correctly. So I mean, it does take a while to get it refilled, but it does filter it fairly quickly. Now, filtering fast isn't necessarily a good thing, depending on the media you're using. If it's filtering fast, it could be that the water is flowing through it too quickly, and as a result, it is not getting filtered efficiently. That did not seem to be the case with the Zerowater. When I first started using it, I noticed it had an interesting, for me, enjoyable, slightly sweet flavor. And that flavor, I was kind of curious about it, so I looked online and I saw a bunch of complaints from people about, oh, my water tastes like lemons, and it's a brand new filter and blah blah blah. And some people call it Zerowater. This is for your information, okay? They called Zerowater and they complained to Zerowater that their water tasted like lemons. And so Zerowater sent them replacement filters and said, don't buy third-party filters for our products. So I wanted to point that out, that you should unless you can find a filter that is, that has been proven to be as good as the originals by Zerowater, you should avoid any duplicates. I did see a couple of videos where people cut open the filters, and although it says it's 5-stage, I think that's kind of a bit misleading, okay? And the reason I say that is because the first stage, if you look at the very top here of the filter, there is a like a grid of plastic holding a filter paper in place, and the filter paper it's got holes in it, so it's kind of coarse. I don't know if it's actually paper or if it's plastic, but it's kind of coarse. So water that travels through that as a very coarse particulate filter, which really, honestly, Yeah, it's a filter, but it's kind of, kind of fudging a little bit, I would say. And then below the filter, there is what appeared to be a layer of carbon, activated carbon. And below that, so that's two, right? And below that, there was a big, big layer of some kind of beads of resin, which I assume do the work of getting rid of the metals. And then at the bottom, there was another little paper down here before it went out. I don't remember what the fifth layer was, if there was even one. There wasn't one between the carbon and the resin, which I thought was odd. Maybe if you look around, you might be able to find an explanation, or an actual cut up of the filter that shows all 5 layers. I didn't really see 5 layers. So I used to sell water filters, so I know a little bit about them. The meter, I'm going to just zoom in. I'm going to click on this so you can see for yourself. All right, here we go. All right, so there it is. And I was not happy with one other thing about the filtration. Previously, when I was in Indonesia, I had owned a water dispenser that was probably a bit larger than this one. I had to leave it there when I moved here. But above the filter cartridge, it had a dome of ceramic. And that ceramic dome formed the first fine particulate filter. So it was doing a much better job than this thin little flimsy piece that they have there. And in fact, the only thing you had to take care of with that ceramic filter was to make sure that you periodically would take like a soft toothbrush or whatever to it and clean off the biofilm that would develop as a result of putting tap water in there. But otherwise, it was great. And I used it for years. In fact, the entire time that we had that, we never had to change the ceramic dome. So I really wish that Zerowater had used the dome as the first layer of filtering. It really makes a difference, I feel. When you get this, it's all disassembled, of course. You have to attach this to this. You have to put the reservoir inside, and you have to wash everything before you use it, and so on and so forth. This does come with, it has a plastic pipe going through the hole in the glass, and there is a silicone gasket on either side of the glass so that it won't leak. I never had any problems with leaking from there or from the nozzle. It is, it's a good design, but here's the thing. After about, I don't know, 2.5 weeks, I started to notice that the water's taste was no longer sweet. And it took on an odd flavor. And, initially when I had tested my water, I had discovered that when the water is cold, the TDS meter showed it was like 150, 200 parts per million. And when it was hot, it was like 300 and something. And that was what the second video was about, was focusing on the total dissolved solids. And I'm going to just explain right now so I don't forget. Total dissolved solids does not mean all of the solids that have dissolved and are in the water. The way the TDS meter that they provide works is it tests conductivity. So if there's dissolved calcium in the water, it's not going to test for that. It's only going to test for things that will let the electrical current flow through the water. So it's kind of misleading when it shouldn't be total dissolved. It should be total conductive dissolved substances. Okay. So anyways, initially when I ran the water through the filter, it was 0. And after I noticed that the filtered water in 2.5 weeks had become different, at first I didn't think anything of it. I thought, well, maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe there's some other reason. But after a week or so later, I tested the water, and the TDS was just as bad as if it came from the tap. So what that told me is that the filters on these things, obviously it depends on how polluted your water is, how much there is in it, but the filter on this thing was used up in less than a month. And let's see if we can find out the how much the filters cost. Okay, so replacement filters cost $25 for 2, $50 for 4, $40 for 3. Yeah, so that, and then there's a 6-pack, $70. So you're paying a lot of money, really. I mean, you're going to pay about 25. In my case, with as much pollution as there is in our water, it seems that I would be paying like $25 a month for cleaner water, replacing the filters twice a month. Now, that seems like a lot until you compare how much you would spend on bottled water, and some of the other filters out there would be even more expensive. And so I think, and you can see the first stage of the filter right there. See the plastic grid, and then there's that material that it's probably a plastic. That's a plastic mesh. So you can, honestly, as far as price is concerned, $25 a month for your filtered water is pretty cheap. But I would like to point out that if you were to get a reverse osmosis filter, the difference would be that you would get pretty much the same quality of water, maybe a bit cleaner than the Zerowater filter. However, you would find that, sorry, my cat is trying to get in front of the monitor, and I have to keep holding him back. Stay there, stay. Well, he looks so grumpy because he's got this harness on him. He doesn't like having this harness on him. Here, let me get that off of you. Where's the frickin'? There it is. Hey, there you go. Yeah, you like that, don't you? You don't like having that on you, do you? All right. Well, he's much more peppy when he doesn't have that thing on him. But anyways. All right, so now I've forgotten what I was saying because Sherlock interrupted me. But the point here is you could be spending a lot more. Reverse osmosis would be superior to this. However, reverse osmosis wastes a lot of the water that goes through it. So you'd be throwing away a lot of water, which, if you consider how much water is actually available on the planet that is consumable by us, it's a bad thing. There really isn't very much water available. So coming back to this thing, because it was so fast to become exhausted, which I was disappointed by, because I used a different brand a long time ago that I don't think is made anymore, and it would last for a long time. My sister uses another brand that isn't as good as the Zerowater, but it also lasts for months and months. So I just felt like I'm not even really sure that I need to filter metal. See, here he goes. Here he goes. Stop. Here he stop. I'm not even sure if there's lead in my pipes. I know that we have copper pipes, and I'm not happy with the flavor when it's hot. If you want to experiment with it, get a TDS filter like theirs. You can buy it on their website. But again, this is a conductivity test, and it's not showing you total dissolved solids. it's showing you total conductive dissolved solids. It doesn't really explain how it tests, but I saw a video where it indicated that it uses electricity, and unfortunately they don't show it with the cap off, so you can't actually see. However, if you open up the cap, which is this part here, you will see that there are two metal probes sticking. They're recessed inside of here, but they're there, and that's how the testing is done. Oh, and I wanted to point out also, it has an on-off button, obviously, but it also has a hold button. What's the hold button for? Well, since it's a conductivity test, as soon as you remove as soon as you remove the meter or the tester from the water, it goes back to zero. Okay? So if you want to if you're having trouble seeing it for whatever reason, maybe it's not bright where you're at with your sample, you can put it in the water, press hold, and then take it out, and it will continue to display the reading that it had when it was in the water. So, that's a nice little feature, but again, this is not a true TDS meter. So I ended up sending it back to the place I got it from, and they refunded me fully. They provided free shipping both ways. I'm sure you can guess which company it is. I just don't want to say their name because I feel that there are other companies that are just as good as them. But, Zerowater isn't bad. It's just I didn't want to have to replace the filters twice a month. So I'm going to be looking into getting something that's a bit more, for my purposes, durable. I wish, though, that my landlord would tear out all the copper pipes and put in something else, because when I run hot water through, the pipes release a lot of they release a lot of chemicals into the water. And the water has this off taste to it that I do not care for at all. So I have to run the water for a long time to get. Sometimes it dissipates very quickly, and other times for some reason it takes a long time for the cold water only to stop tasting bad. And this is especially true when the weather is warm. So I think it has to do with the ambient temperature of the room or of the building, maybe. Affecting how warm the water is, and thus how many chemicals from the piping go in. So anyways, that's enough from me, I think, and I again apologize for not being able to provide you with an in-person presentation of my review with the product sitting on my counter still. You can take a look. You can see here we got an 18 inches by 9.75 inches. And there's, like I said, that's where you attach it. As you can see, it's flush with the bottom of the reservoir. So there's the TDS meter included. And it does taste pure. I mean, it did taste very nice at the beginning. And it's certified by the NSF. For chromium and lead. Oops, I'm so sorry. I'm looking at my screen on my computer, not my screen for you guys. Sorry about that. So, happy people. Oh, joy, how artistic, but not useful. Yeah, so there's one probe that you can see right there, and then the other probe is over here behind this piece of plastic. And here are the 5 stages. So the first stage is that pre-filter I told you about. I'm not sure what this is, but this is the carbon, this is the resin, and then there's that last little tiny filter. And that last filter is more to keep all of this stuff from flowing out than it is as a filter for your water itself. It's basically keep the stuff inside that belongs inside. And yeah, we're back to the beginning then. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this review, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.